Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary. My name is Audie Ratliff and I invite you to spend the next few minutes with me and we'll go over everything that happens this week here at Ratliff Mandolins. It is Monday morning, the last week of March, first week of April 2022. Can you believe it? The year is a quarter gone already, and if you've been following the series, you know that we are at the beginning of a new batch of 10 mandolins. We've been bending sides and putting the blocks in and everything, and we have all of the sides bent and the blocks are in all but maybe the last mandolin, and we have the tops that are ready with the tone bars glued in, and they're ready to glue on those sides. And I have one right here, so some of them have already got this far along. And what we're going to concentrate on this week will be trying to get all of those 10 mandolins this far along, getting the tops trimmed off, putting the F-holes in. This one's already got the neck joint cut, and sawing the scroll out and getting the preliminary carving of the scroll so that we can put the binding on these things. Then they will be ready for the neck, but we're not going to get anywhere near that far this week, I'm sure. But I sure would like to get all of them down with the F-holes cut and the scroll at least roughed out. So that's what we're going to shoot for this week. But before we go into the big room and start that job, I'm going to finish up two jobs that got started last week as we were waiting on the film crew. If you've been following the series, this dobro banjo has one more crack to glue in the back before I can start putting it back together. So I'm going to glue and cleat that today. And then I got about halfway done scooping the fretboard on this R5 mandolin. This fretboard in, and so I'm going to finish that up so that I can call him and tell him to come and get his mandolin, and then maybe sometime later on this week we can get this dobro banjo out of here. So that's what I'm going to start Monday morning with, and invite you to follow along as we shoot some footage of that, and I will talk to you tomorrow, Tuesday. It is now Tuesday morning, and as you saw from the footage there, yesterday I did indeed get the mandolin fretboard end scooped out, all the strings back on the thing, and it is good to go. And the only thing I didn't get done was to call the customer to let him know that it was okay to come and pick his mandolin up, but that's on the job jar list today. You also saw me glue and cleat the cracks in the dobro banjo, and so the first thing on the job jar list today is to take that thing back out of the prop bar deck and do whatever needs to be done to see if we can get strings back on it today. And then after that, we'll go back in the big room, and you'll see that we'll pick up where we left off yesterday, which is gluing all the blocks and stuff into the sides that we have bent. In fact, actually yesterday we did glue the last of the blocks in, so we'll pick up from there. And the job will be to level the sides as much as possible, put the corner protectors in, and glue the kerfing in preparation for putting the top on. And by the time we get all that done, I'd say that'll pretty much take the better part of the day. So here I go. apparently Tuesday produced a couple of little musical tidbits for you guys to watch. The first one was me playing a pretty bad version of Old Joe Clark on the banjo dobro, trying to make sure that it worked the way it was supposed to, and it did. And the second one was some friends of mine come over every Tuesday, and we have a jam session in the front room. And so I thought, well, I'll turn the camera on and capture just a little bit of that for you guys. Now, I'm not completely finished with the repairs that have built up, but I'm not going to work on any more today. We're just going to go into the big room and start in on the batch of mandolins that we're working on. And that will include putting some kerfing in the sides that are already have all the blocks glued into them. And hopefully we'll work our way back down the line here and apply some binding, glue some binding into the very first mandolin in the batch, mandolin number 1, hopefully. So let's go see if we get that much done today. Well, I guess you figured it out. We did not get the binding put on mandolin number 1. on yesterday, Wednesday. It is now Thursday morning, and the job number one on the job jar list today is to get the binding on mandolin number one. It's going to be a cream colored ivory binding, and then we're going to work our way back down the line, mandolin number two, and then just continue on back down the line and put the tops on those mandolins that we put the kerfing in yesterday. And that's probably going to be the way that we do things for the next few days anyway, which is to start at the head of the line and just work our way back down until we get them all pulled up to at least some even point. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. Put this piece of binding on this mandolin. Well, Thursday has come and gone, and it is now Friday, and we're just going to simply pick up where we left off yesterday. This mandolin here is mandolin number one in the batch, and it is an oval hole. It has ivory binding, and it's due to have one more piece of binding glued on it today, and that's what I'm going to do. Then I'll move on to the mandolin number two in the batch, and this mandolin is going to eventually wind up in its new home in New York State. It also needs just to have the next piece of binding glued on, and that's what we're going to do. And then I will move on to where we were at yesterday, which is getting those sides ready. Right now I'm gluing the corner protectors on those things, and we'll be putting tops on them. And then the ones that have already gotten the tops glued on, we'll be taking those off and running them down this line of machines here that will cut the neck joint, and the F-holes will be roughed out, and then we'll cut the scroll out and rough carve it down in preparation for having those things ready to go on these jigs when these mandolins eventually have all of the pieces of binding glued on. And so that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the day. And really that process will probably continue about all week next week as well. So I certainly hope that you come back next week to watch all of that stuff happen. Hit the like and subscribe button if you don't mind. Leave me a comment. I always appreciate the comments. Share me on your social media platforms and tell all your friends to come and visit us here at the Ratliff Mandolins channel, and let them watch us each and every week on the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary series. And having said all that, I'll look for you next week. Thanks for watching. See you then.